Hey, NOSA community. I am back. Welcome, NOSA community. So, a couple of things before I jump into our discussion this evening. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get updates, as well as make sure that you click the like button if you like the video, and then the bell alarm if you want to get notifications for upcoming videos. So let's get started. So I left you guys off at the end of October talking about goals. So goal setting doesn't just like go through October. It lasts as long as you need it to. So one of the things that I try to do during my time and kind of putting together my goals is to use different formats to kind of fit where I am in the process. So one of the things that I like to do is share some of the common styles of goal setting, which is what you saw before in the last video, which was your SMART goals. And this is kind of your pyramid goal setting. And then finally touch on the style that I use. So as I mentioned before, I use all the different ones that I've shared already. And we're going to touch on this one here in this video. But the one that I'm currently using is called the plan backwards or plan towards the end of the year style of goal setting. So I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So let's talk a little bit about the pyramid goal setting. So this one's always a great idea to use if you have like a bunch of different things happening for you, like big major goals. So if you have like 3 or 4 major goals that may have a lot of different layers to it, using this style of goal setting can help you because it kind of is, hey, if your ultimate goal is to get certification as a women-owned business, enterprise, or minority-owned, or women and minority-owned certification, then it's not as easy as just kind of saying you want to get it. There's a couple of steps in the process. So this type of goal setting is really nice because then it allows you to kind of say, hey, this is my ultimate goal. And then these are the things I have to do to get there, which might include an application, an outreach, reviewing of documents, meeting with individuals. And then these are the steps I'm going to do. So like, hey, first quarter, we're going to submit our application. Second quarter, we're going to work towards, meeting any outstanding requirements that particular certification may require. And then, of course, say by third quarter, you want to have the certification. So the process can include also for some of your goals doing like research, if you had to do research initially. So this type of goal setting can really help with that. I tell people this is kind of usually how I format any sort of timeline for people is through this. And I really focus mostly on your short-term goals or your short-term achievements in that area. So if you wanted to say, for instance, launch your agency, I would help you focusing on more of these because the ultimate goal really is to launch the agency, but there's a lot more of these things involved to get you there. So kind of, obtaining your workers' comp, obtaining your business insurance, making sure that you have funding available, creating a back office or working with a company that offers back office, understanding your kind of organizational structure, as well as your workflows and processes within the business. So that's this one. And I don't actually have a picture of the one that I use, but I'll chat with you guys a little bit about what it is. And if I find a picture, I'll share a picture. But it's kind of the doing it backwards or goal setting backwards, where you actually start at the end, and we can use this pyramid as the goal. So let's imagine this pyramid is upside down. And what we would do is start here. So we would start backwards. So if your goal was to expand your agency or expand into different states, it may be to reach a certain financial state. And then it could be work less, work in the business less, be more involved in other elements of the business, or expand into government contracting. So any of those things would be applicable. And then from there, you kind of obtain or create a couple of different ultimate goals. So I call it ultimate because it's not necessarily long-term. So it's what you want to achieve for the end of the year and what that's supposed to look like. So it includes like financial goals. It includes like marketing or social media types of goals. It includes any sort of partnerships or collaborations or for us, one of our goals is kind of the conference we'll have for NOSAs in 2023. That's part of our ultimate goal package or goal pyramid. And then from there, we work our way backwards to kind of determine, what'll get us there. And it's not as much of a individual goal, but kind of the collective goal. So when I talk about, the end goal first, that's where I'm putting my focus, like how I like to work, who I want to work with, what types of relationships I want to sustain or get rid of. Where do I want to be working? How much time I want to be working? What's my financial goals? What type of team or core team or layers? What's the ultimate goal for the NOSA group for the next 3 to 5 years? And then you kind of work it down into individual yearly goals. And then of course, monthly, weekly, quarterly, those types of goals. So it operates very similar to this, but it's not as focused on task as versus the overall vision, the overall direction that you want the organization to be in. So it's kind of more of a holistic view of your business than it would be for like more individual things. Like I want to get a contract in 30 days, or I want to, launch my business or go into government contracting. Those are more like intermediate goals. It's kind of like, what's the vision? Like, what's the ultimate goal for the NOSA group? Where do I see it in the next 3 to 5 years? What does that look like? And then what do I need to get there? Or what do I need to be doing or building or providing or supporting to get me there? So I hope that helps you guys. This will kind of conclude the series on goal setting. I hope that you've taken out some time over the last couple of weeks, whether it be this month or last month or even next month, to really sit down and do those things. There's a lot of studies around the fact that really sitting down and writing it down, as well as getting an accountability partner, helps you achieve your goals more so. As I mentioned before, I think in the first video, I have accountability partners, I have accountability groups. So a big part of what I do isn't in any way individualistic. So I encourage you guys not to do that as well, to make sure that you have a team, not only just a support system, but also people who are contributing to your success, encouraging your success, and making sure that, any obstacles that may be there for you, that they can assist you with. They're kind of helping you through that process. As we wrap up the year, I always tell people to kind of do like a look back, a year in review, to kind of see where you came. Definitely give yourself kudos on some of your accomplishments. Small business is like a marathon. You won't see the ultimate end result for many years, a lot of the time. And as I know, and you guys know, healthcare staffing is thriving, and it's probably going to be doing that for some time. And I touched on it in the video when I talked about pivoting, what you're doing in healthcare staffing, or kind of how you're staffing in healthcare, because that's kind of what the biggest change is that I see in the industry. I've had the opportunity over the past couple of weeks to attend the American Staffing Association conference, the SIA Staffing Industry Analyst Conference, and a big part of the conversations are around some of these changing and required pivoting and changes on your outlook. So I will share a little bit that kind of builds into this goal setting. Is the healthcare staffing industry, and I even noticed this when I started as a nurse, is slow to change. And I think because of the pandemic, the change that was coming down the pipeline was expedited. So some of the technology and integrations and some of the policies and regulations weren't necessarily things that were happening already versus things that were forced to happen. So because of that, as NOSAs, healthcare professionals, nurse entrepreneurs and things of that nature, it is key that you begin the process of either getting in alignment with some of the changes, whether it be technology or social media, or even like improving your processes. It is inevitable that if you don't get in line, or if you're not kind of on a timeline to get yourself there, that you will fall behind. Unfortunately, that's kind of sometimes what happens when, drastic changes happen to industries. You're either forced, right? Like if you're a little bit slow with it, or you're kind of on the tail end or you're beginning it and you have to kind of fast forward that process so that you don't get left behind. Because as I mentioned on one of the networking sessions that I attended while I was out there, nurses have more options than they had before. That's not necessarily something that will change anytime soon or very quickly. But with that, you need to offer them, nurses, healthcare professionals, all of the people that operate in that industry, something more. You have to offer them an added value. And it doesn't always look like money. And what I tell people to do, what I would have liked people to do, even as a nurse myself, is to just ask what they want, ask what's important to them, include them in the conversation, which I think more and more companies are definitely hesitant to do. But I think those companies that do that will sustain as we go into 2023, um, and become the companies that people are most interested in being a part of. So thank you guys for hanging out with me again. As always, subscribe to our channel. I am back in motion. I've shared a couple of videos, but it's been some time, but I am glad to have you here as a part of our YouTube community. We're looking to put out some amazing content as we roll into 2023, as well as some events that we'll have happening next year that we'll definitely share here on our channel. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to click on the alert bell to get notified of upcoming videos.